Imagine a man named Daniel, a devoted Christian, a loving husband, and the father of two children. For 15 years, he worked for the same company. His life seemed stable, secure, and predictable. But within just a few months, everything changed. The company shut down one of its divisions, and Daniel lost his job. As if that were not enough, his wife needed unexpected medical treatment. Bills began to pile up, and the future became increasingly uncertain. The clouds of worry were gathering quickly. Many people would have given up. Many would have been consumed by fear. Daniel felt anxiety too. He felt uncertainty. He cried in silence. Yet during that journey, he discovered truths that helped him remain optimistic even in the most difficult days. In the first days after losing his job, Daniel searched desperately for answers. He kept asking himself the same question: why? Why is this happening to me? But no answer seemed sufficient. Then he remembered the words of Romans 8:28, and his question changed. Instead of asking why this was happening, he began asking, "Lord, what do you want to accomplish through this situation?" He still did not understand God's plan, but he chose to trust that God remained in control, and that trust brought peace to his heart. One morning, while reading his Bible, he came across an old note he had written years before. "Thus far, the Lord has helped us." At that moment, memories began to flood his mind. He remembered times when God had opened impossible doors. He remembered the financial struggles of his younger years, his father's illness, and the countless ways God had provided and protected him. Then he realized something important. The God who was faithful yesterday is still faithful today. Hope began to bloom again. The nights, however, were still long. While the rest of the house slept, Daniel lay awake. Worries multiplied. Doubts grew louder. Anxiety tried to take hold of his heart. That was when he developed a new habit. Every worry became a prayer. Every anxious thought became a conversation with God. Whenever fear appeared, he would say, "Lord, this situation is in your hands." The circumstances did not change overnight, but something inside him did. His heart began to find rest. As the days passed, Daniel noticed something else. He was consuming too much negative news. He spent hours listening to pessimistic voices and reading information that only fueled his fears. So he made a decision. He changed his focus. He spent more time reading the Gospels and reflecting on the life of Jesus. And he remembered that Christ faced rejection, suffering, injustice, and even the cross. Yet he remained faithful to the end. By fixing his eyes on Jesus, Daniel found the strength to keep moving forward. At one point, he realized that all he could see was what he was losing. So he started a simple practice. Every night he wrote down 3 reasons to be thankful. Some were significant, others seemed small. An unexpected phone call, a meal on the table, a positive medical report, a hug from his children. Little by little, gratitude changed his perspective. The problems were still there, but they no longer occupied his entire horizon. Months later, Daniel noticed something surprising. He had changed. He was more patient, more humble, more dependent on God, more sensitive to the struggles of others. Before, his faith had been comfortable. Now it was deep. That was when he understood a life-changing truth. God never wastes pain. Trials are also tools in the hands of the Lord. What had once seemed like nothing more than a crisis had become a classroom. Not every answer came quickly. Some took months, others took years. But Daniel learned a truth that sustained him through it all. His hope was not rooted only in this life. It rested in the promise of eternity, in the eternal presence of God, in the certainty that there is something infinitely greater than any earthly achievement. That hope allowed him to keep moving forward even when he could not yet see the end of the road. As time passed, Daniel found a new job. His wife recovered from her treatment. Their finances gradually improved. But the greatest victory was not professional, financial, or material. The greatest victory happened within him. The crisis that could have destroyed him became the very instrument that strengthened his faith. And whenever someone asked how he managed to remain strong during that season, Daniel would answer, "I was never strong enough on my own. I simply learned to trust God one day at a time." And perhaps that is the true essence of biblical optimism, not believing that storms will never come, but trusting that even when the waves seem greater than we are, God is still in the boat, and as long as He is there, there will always be hope.